am just getting a really strong urge to frog the whole thing and start again. Good morning. It is a non-working day, aka a crochet day, so I thought we could spend the next couple of days together so you can see what I get up to on the days that I'm not working and I'm predominantly crocheting. Today I don't actually have a particularly busy day. I've got my cervical screening booked for around lunchtime. I've got some like little chores around the flat that I need to do, and then I have some things on my kind of crochet agenda that I need to achieve today. I'm sending out the pattern to my pattern testers for the Wave Hello top tomorrow, which I'm really excited about. So today I'm gonna create the little Instagram kind of group chat. I'm gonna finalize the pattern, do a little practice run to make sure it all makes sense, and yeah, see where the day takes me. I am all dressed, I'm fresh and clean. This is what I'm wearing. Just a very simple and casual outfit today. So this is the t-shirt that I did a tutorial on, so you can kind of see what it looks like on a kind of day-to-day. I wore this on holiday as well. It's really nice and stretchy. It's really comfortable. I absolutely love wearing this. It's also, considering it's acrylic, it's not super hot either, which I really enjoyed. I'm seeing Megan Thee Stallion in a couple of weeks, and I'm currently crocheting myself like a little outfit. I'm going for like a co-ord, like a skirt and a matching top. I finished with the skirt. I decided to do like a wrap skirt, but I don't think I like it. I'm really not, like, it's fine. I don't hate it, but I don't think I'm in love with it, you know. And I feel like for me, the amount of work and effort that I put into my crochet outfits, like I feel like I should love it, you know. And so for me, if I ordered this online, I would be umming and ahhing about it, and I'd probably send it back. Not because I hate it, not because it doesn't fit me nicely or anything like that, just because I'm not in love with it, you know. This is kind of the vibe. It's a very short skirt. It is a wrap skirt, so it would wrap over. And it's cute, and I like the mesh, and I like the vibe of it. I think this kind of bottom or like diamond mesh is quite cute, but I also did this already with my like lacy summer dress that I made, so I feel like it's just not really, it's nothing kind of new and exciting for me in that sense. And I am just getting a really strong urge to frog the whole thing and start again. I think this is the first time that I freehanded something. I've not had like a really specific vision in mind. Like, as much as when I freehand, I do tend to kind of wing it, I at least have like a really kind of rough outline of what it is that I want to create, and then I can kind of create like a really basic line drawing of it, because I'm not an artist and I can't draw like the whole kind of outfit. But for this, all I knew was that I wanted a wrap skirt and a top. That was basically it. And the main reason I chose a wrap skirt is because I thought it would be best for my body shape and for the kind of look that I was going for. For me personally, I found that whenever I try and attempt to make myself a skirt, because of the way my body is, like I tend to wear things high-waisted, so my waist is smaller. I have quite a large lower stomach and love handles, and then obviously hips as well. So I find that when I'm trying to put the skirt on, in order for it to go over my hips, my stomach, my love handles, it needs to be obviously be a bigger size, but then it doesn't cinch in enough at my waist for it to stay up, if that makes sense. Even if I've done a waistband, even if I've added elastic, that sort of thing, I've never been able to find one that kind of like really fits my body well. So that's the main reason I kind of went for a wrap skirt in the first place, because I was like, oh, I don't have to put it over my hips. I'm gonna be able to wrap it around myself, and it will just alleviate that issue, I guess. But now I'm not so sure, because it feels really heavy and it's stretching out the waistband so much that it ends up being quite big. So I'm in a bit of a predicament at the moment, because I don't know if I can crochet a skirt that will fit my body type, you know. I also made a start on the top. I've been doing these really beautiful African flower hexagons. I've never done it with just one colour before. I've done it with like a variegated yarn and it's beautiful, but I've never done it with one colour, and I think it looks so lovely. Like, it just looks so kind of timeless and like quite classy as well, which is not usually what I go for, but I think it looks quite cute. And so for the top, I'm just going to go really basic, and this is kind of the height that I'm going for. I want it to be quite small, and then I'm just going to have the hexagons wrap around my body and then add some straps. I might put some like half hexagons in these little gaps just to give me a straight edge, but not quite decided yet. I think it's looking really good so far. And the thing is as well is that obviously I made the skirt first and then decided on the top. Again, I wasn't really sure what kind of top I wanted, so when I started the top, I'm obviously using these really beautiful hexagons, but I've not incorporated that into the skirt at all. So because it's a co-ord as well, it just doesn't really, it looks quite disjointed, you know. I think the only similarity is the fact that I'm using the same yarn, and I do want it to have at least like a relatively cohesive look to it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at mentally with this co-ord. I think I'm gonna frog this today, because I don't really want this kind of like looming over me. I definitely feel like I'm going in the right direction with the top. Like, I'm really enjoying how this looks. I'm really enjoying kind of my final vision for it. I think it's going to look really cute. So I just need to get to that place with the skirt, and I think incorporating the hexagons into the skirt will help me achieve that basically. I'm just about to leave for my cervical screening, which is also known as a smear test, and this is just your reminder that if you're 25 years or older and you are a person with a cervix, please book your cervical screening appointment. I'm not sure how it works in other countries, but in the UK or in England specifically, you usually get sent a letter when you are 25 and you're due your screening. You then get sent kind of repeated letters. I think it's like every 5 years, so it's not even that often. I know it can seem really intimidating, but there is honestly nothing to be scared of. For me personally, I don't experience any pain. It's just kind of mildly uncomfortable, but the person who usually does it, the nurse or the doctor or whatever, is usually really patient. They'll explain the whole process to you if you're worried, if you have any questions. So just book your appointment. Also, if you're worried about when you call to book your appointment and that you have to call at like 8 AM, like as soon as the lines open, which you typically have to do to book a general GP appointment, for me, I didn't have to do that. I called like 2 days ago at like 3 PM to get my appointment booked, and it's booked for today. So it was really quick. They were able to book it immediately. I didn't have to kind of call back or anything. So if that's something that you're worried about or is maybe like putting you off from booking it, just give it a go, because you never know when you're going to be able to get your appointment. You enjoying yourself? Yeah. Okay. Alright, you little tunnel boy. Yeah. Are you okay? You comfortable? I just got back from my cervical screening appointment and it went completely fine. I felt really comfortable. Something that I didn't know that they do, I don't know if they maybe just didn't do it the last time I went, but they now ask if you would like a chaperone with you, which I think is a really great idea, especially if you're unable to bring somebody you know to the appointment, or if you just feel a little bit uncomfortable and you need like an additional person there, sort of thing. It does definitely feel very strange having your whole cooch out in front of somebody else. But the experience itself is just, for me, very mildly uncomfortable. It just kind of makes my eye twitch a little bit. I wouldn't say it's painful for me. I know some people do experience pain, but I think it is very dependent person to person. But yeah, I get my results in 4 weeks time, and then I went for a little peruse at one of the charity shops, which is kind of near my doctor's surgery. I didn't find anything I wanted, but they did have some yarn. I had a little look through there and it wasn't really my cup of tea personally. They also were doing it for £1 for a ball, which I thought was a bit pricey for a charity shop, and considering some of the balls were not full balls, if that makes sense. I also didn't realise how long I would be, because it's like a 20-minute walk to my doctor's surgery, and then obviously the actual appointment, and then coming home. So I thought I'd be fine to not go and not have lunch, but I am now starving. So I'm gonna have some lunch. I just did some prawn deer, and I've got some ajar as well. These are the frozen prawn deer. I didn't make these myself, so, you know, don't tell my mum. Also, if you thought that I made these and they're perfectly round, thank you for having so much faith in me. So I've just added my pattern testers to a group chat on Instagram, and then the pattern, I just need to finalize a few little bits, and then I'll be able to send it to the testers tomorrow. This is my third ever pattern test that I've put out. The first one I did probably like the end of 2023, and it didn't go very well, and that's not anything to do with the testers that I chose or anything like that. I think just I was quite new to it, so I didn't really kind of know what the best practice was, what would be kind of the most like streamlined and efficient way to get in touch with testers and stuff like that, and I wasn't really kind of taking my patterns very seriously in that sense. I think I've tried for such a long time to not monetize crochet and like create a business out of it, because I do that with every single hobby that I've ever had. So I was really trying to avoid doing that. So I think when I did my first like testicle and pattern test, I wasn't taking it as seriously as I probably could have done, because in my mind I was like, I don't want this to become my business. I don't want this to become like, you know, stressful for me. So I think by doing that, I actually inadvertently made it more stressful for myself. I mean, it went well. The pattern itself kind of was successful in that sense. Like they were able to make the garment from the pattern. But I think the communication that I used like basically TikTok direct message, which is a bit clunky anyway, because you have to be following each other, and then sometimes you might not always get the message, or it might go into your requests and blah, blah, blah. So it was a bit awkward in terms of the logistics of trying to get in touch with the people who I wanted to pattern test. So yeah, not my best kind of process. So it didn't really go very well. I haven't even released the pattern for it yet, because it just took so long, and some of my pattern testers were kind of having like personal stuff going on, so they weren't able to complete the pattern test on time. So by the time that some of them were able to get back to me with the final like feedback and final pictures and stuff, it was the summer, and it was a kind of sweater top basically. So I was like, I don't really want to release a pattern that's for a sweater, for a warm top that is going to be released in summer. It just didn't really make much sense to me. So hopefully I'll be releasing that one kind of towards the beginning of autumn, because that will hopefully by then be ready to go. And then the second pattern was my blossom cardigan pattern, which did go well in terms of I've released it, it's now live. I had really great feedback, I had some really great testers, but I selected 7 testers and only 2 of them actually fulfilled it, which was quite disappointing from my perspective. You know, like obviously I was quite lucky that I had quite a lot of interest in people testing the blossom cardigan, and the people that I chose were people who, you know, I'd looked at their profiles and they seemed like they, you know, were crocheting quite a lot, or they'd already done pattern tests for other people, things like that. But it just turned out that unfortunately some of them were unreliable. Some of them got back to me and let me know they had, you know, personal stuff going on, they had life stuff going on, totally get it. But some of them I just was ghosted, and I actually ended up getting blocked by one of them on TikTok because and on Instagram actually, because I just got in touch with them and was like, you know, I haven't heard from you, I've sent you the whole pattern and I haven't heard from you kind of throughout the entire experience, you know. And I typically would check in around like a week after I sent the pattern just to be like, hey, how's it going, is there anything I can help with, that sort of thing. And I was just ghosted and ignored, and then they eventually blocked me. So that was not a fun experience, I can't lie. Obviously it was quite disappointing to have 7 people and then only have 2 people get back to me and were able to actually finish it. It's also one of those things where I'm sending people a pattern for free and I'm expecting like an exchange of services essentially. So I'm sending them the pattern, they are providing me with feedback and photos and, you know, obviously testing the pattern to make sure it all works out, and it's like equal exchange of services in my opinion, you know, because it's hard work creating a pattern. So obviously for me it's like, oh, I've sent 5 people a free pattern. that I'm not going to get the return from, you know. I'm not going to get the cash from it. I'm not going to get the feedback that I really wanted and needed. I'm not going to get the kind of representation of plus size bodies in the pattern testers that I really was hoping for, because pretty much everyone who didn't end up completing it were my plus size testers, which was, again, like I say, is really disappointing for me, because as a plus size person, when I'm buying a pattern, I'm looking for plus size testers. I'm looking for that pattern on plus size bodies and on bodies that look like mine, because then I'm more inclined to buy it. Similarly how you would do if you were online shopping, that sort of thing. So yeah, it was a little bit disappointing, and I think the process definitely, like, I can see definite improvement from the first pattern to the second pattern in terms of who I chose, how I approached it, the kind of method of communication, that sort of thing. And I ended up actually making a post on TikTok about it, just to kind of ask people for advice, like from either people who had done pattern tests or other pattern designers, like, is this normal? Should I expect this? Like, is there anything I could do kind of in the future to avoid this from happening, that sort of thing. And I received some really great feedback, some really helpful feedback, and I've applied that feedback to this pattern test. So fingers crossed, things won't go wrong. Famous last words. But one of the really great pieces of advice was that people often put the testers into a group chat on Instagram, so it kind of keeps the testers almost like accountable, and then they can connect with other fiber artists. They can see if there's maybe a universal mistake that I've made on the pattern, or maybe if somebody's like potentially reading something a little bit wrong and I'm not around immediately to help, then somebody else can kind of jump in and help, that sort of thing. So it also kind of takes a little bit of the stress away from me. So I think that was a great idea. I'm looking forward to kind of connecting a little bit more with my pattern testers, because I feel like it's quite segregated, you know. It's only me who's contacting each individual person. I'm not really kind of like chatting with them. So I think this will be like a little bit nicer, a little bit more pressure free. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. But now I am just finalizing my details of the actual pattern itself, and I think it's going really well. I feel like I probably only have maybe about, I'd say like 20% left of the pattern to finish writing. So I'm gonna hopefully get that done today. If not, I can finish it early tomorrow, and then I'll get the pattern out to them. Another really great piece of advice that I received actually was that some people send the pattern in 2 parts. So they send the pattern to the pattern testers as part 1, and when they've essentially received like proof that the pattern tester is completing the test and that they've made the piece up until that point, then they send over the second half of the pattern, which actually makes a lot of sense, because especially if somebody, you know, ends up not being able to do it, or maybe something comes up and they're unable to complete the pattern test, or, you know, they just ignore them or ghost them or whatever, you're not sending the whole pattern to somebody and then not getting kind of the feedback and the test in return, sort of thing. So I thought that was a really good idea, and it kind of mediates any potential like financial loss from my side. But yeah, my fingers are crossed. I feel really positive about this pattern test. I feel really positive about the people that I've chosen, and yeah, I'm really excited to get started. It's looking so cute. So I recently made a post on TikTok about how I feel about the Taylor Swift crochet dress. Spoiler alert, I don't like it. I'm not the biggest fan of Taylor Swift anyway. I generally don't think she's a very good person, but I did make a post about it, and some of the comments have been, you know, normal responses, because I understand, you know, Swifties go hard for her, I get it, but some of the comments are actually quite concerning. I've deleted a bunch of them, but I had some really strange, that's the only way I can describe it, really strange comments about the fact I said I didn't like her, the fact I said I didn't like the dress. Yeah, and it's just so interesting because it's like, I wonder if there would have been a similar sort of hype around it if it wasn't a slim white woman, you know? And I have so much to say about fat phobia in the crochet community and just fat phobia in general, but yeah, it's just one of those things where I just found it's so interesting. It's like a science experiment to me sometimes, seeing the type of comments that I will get on a post on TikTok. Also, it's so interesting to me, as somebody who's autistic and posts on TikTok quite a lot, the way that people use TikTok and the way that people kind of comment on it and on posts and stuff is so vastly different to kind of what I've ever understood from the internet. And like, I'm in my 30s, I've been on the internet for a really long time, from like the rise and fall of like Tumblr and Facebook and Twitter and all of these different kind of social media apps and stuff, and it is just so interesting to me how different TikTok is, and the users, how differently they use TikTok compared to any other app. And I think as somebody who creates, as somebody who posts on there, what I've started to notice is that people who comment on your posts aren't always commenting for you, the creator, to see. Sometimes they're just commenting for the sake of commenting, I think, because sometimes I'll get comments that I'm like, what do you want me to say to this? Like, do you know what I mean? It has no kind of relevance. Well, it has relevance, but it has nothing, there's nothing for me to kind of bounce off of. There's nothing for me to kind of respond to. It's neither a compliment or, you know, a statement about what I've said or what I've done in the video. It's just kind of like a complete offshoot of whatever I've posted about, you know. And it's so interesting to me because I'm like, I'm not used to using the internet in that way, you know. For me, it's like, if you comment on somebody's post, it's to interact with the person who's made the post. It's to, you know, pay them a compliment, it's to ask them a question, it's to interact with them in some way, it's to show my, you know, my support, my love, my disdain, my annoyance, whatever it is. But if I comment, it's for the person who's created the video, you know. So it's just a really interesting like observation that I've made, because sometimes I'll be like, I'll kind of see some comments and I'll be like, why have you commented this? Because what can I say to this? You know, I have nothing that I could possibly respond. Not even like an emoji response, you know, there's nothing that I can say to this, because it's just so far removed to whatever I've created for the video, you know. And that's something that I really picked up on the kind of Taylor Swift crochet dress post that I made, which wasn't, you know, mean by any account. It was, you know, just, I don't like the dress and I'm sick of seeing posts about it, because it's not about the dress and it's not about the way it looks and blah blah blah. I personally don't like it. I think it's very ugly. But secondly, it's the fact that it's every other post that I see and I don't want to see it, and I'm trying to avoid it. I'm trying to escape it, but it's not, it's inescapable, you know. It's just a very interesting observation that I've made whilst kind of being on the internet for such a long time. And it's so, again, it's so, I find it so fascinating, and I think people don't kind of take me seriously when I say that I find it interesting and I find it fascinating, because they probably think that I'm joking or that I'm kind of taking it more seriously than I am. But I'm, especially as an autistic person, I'm trying to like understand, you know. I'm trying to be like, what is the purpose for you to use this app in the way that you're using it, you know. So then I understand that if I get certain comments that are phrased a certain way, or, you know, interactions that are in a certain way, I understand it more, you know. I'm trying to pick up on the social cues of the app, basically, which is, again, another really interesting thing that's coming from an autistic person. So it's about 5:30 now, and I am planning on making some dinner a little bit later. I've just put my laundry out, and then I'm probably gonna watch some TV with my partner, hang out with him for a little bit, and then yeah, we'll have dinner together. So this is kind of how I'm gonna spend the rest of my day. I'm working on my African flower granny hexagons. Why do they have such a long name? My African flower hexagons. So I'm going to be working on these for my top for the rest of the evening, and then I'll probably frog my skirt either later tonight or tomorrow, because having it kind of just like as a skirt looming over me is making me feel a type of way. So I need to get this back into yarn. If anybody has any TV show recommendations for me, please throw them my way. I have recently just finished watching Supercell with my partner, which was really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. I love anything with a superhero storyline. I love anything that's set in London, and it's on Netflix as well, so it's super easy to watch. It's only 6 episodes, but they're so, so good. I really hope that we get a second season because it looks like it's really kind of set up to have one, but you know, sometimes these shows just get cancelled for absolutely no reason. But yeah, I'm hoping for a second season. And I'm currently watching a show called Salem, which is on Disney Plus, and I believe it came out in like 2011, 2012 maybe, and it only has 3 seasons because it was cancelled, you know, shot down in its prime. But yeah, it only has 3 seasons. I'm on the 2nd season. I love it so much. It's one of those shows where like it's set in Salem. It's about kind of witches in the 1600s, I believe, and kind of everything about like the Salem witch trials and stuff. But it shows witches in a way that I've personally never seen on TV before, where they're mean and they're quite ugly and they do ugly things. It's no kind of, you know, Hallowell Sisters. It's not Sabrina the Teenage Witch. They are mean witches, and I really love it. It's quite dark, it's quite creepy, it's got lots of twists and turns. It's really, really interesting. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I hope the 3rd season is just as good, because the 2nd season is so, so good. I'm thoroughly enjoying it. But yeah, if anyone has any TV show recommendations, please let me know. There's a high chance I've probably already watched it. I can't lie to you, I do watch a lot of TV. TV and films are my special interest, so I have watched a lot of them. But yeah, that's me for the rest of the day, and I'll see you in the morning. Okay, it is the next day. I have another non-working day / crochet day. I am going to be heading to the gym first, and then I've got a few little bits to finalise for the Wave Hello top pattern, and then it's just a full day of crocheting, and that's the perfect day for me. Okay, so a little update on the top. I have made quite a significant progress. It's relatively long. It still doesn't kind of fully wrap around me because I am a plus size babe and I do have boobs. So I've still probably got maybe about four more hexagons to do, and then I'll kind of join them, and then I might add in some like half hexagons to kind of like fill this gap so I have a straight edge. And then I'll just add some straps and the top is basically finished. So I'm really liking how it looks so far. I just love the way that these African flower squares or hexagons look with one colour. I think it's just like such a really kind of like timeless and beautiful and quite like subtle detail, you know. I really love how that looks. I have also been debating what to do with the colour of this yarn, because as much as I think I suit this colour and as much as I like it, I'm definitely more into like brighter colours, as you can probably tell, and from everything I've ever crocheted, I don't really kind of gravitate towards like plainer colours, especially kind of creams and greys and navies and stuff like that. So I was debating dyeing this, but this yarn is a cotton and acrylic blend, so it's proving quite difficult to find a dye that's suitable for a natural and a synthetic fibre, for both of them. You know, I can only kind of find like one or the other. And I have found a couple of dyes, but they're not really like local to me, so I'd have to get them shipped, and the shipping seems to be quite expensive. And ideally I don't want to be spending more money on this than I kind of have to. Like, this is yarn that I have already, and ideally I don't want to kind of add to the expense of this outfit. So I think dyeing it is kind of off the table. I did then have an idea to add some like beads or some charms, and I found these really beautiful kind of like shells. They're these really nice like different shades of green, and they're circular, they're flat, and they have a little hole in it so I can sew them on. And I got quite a big pack of them, so I'll have plenty to use. And then I also got like a kind of multi-coloured pack, and the main reason I got them is because they had these really pretty like purpley colour in them. But the only thing is that in the pack there's only like six of these, so obviously by comparison I don't really kind of have much of the purpley pink ones to offset the green ones. So I'll see how I get on, but I think I'll be sticking mainly to the green ones. But I do love a green and pink colour palette, so I also found these really pretty kind of charms, and they're teardrop shaped. They have like this kind of multifaceted thing going on, so they catch the light really nicely. They have like a purpley, greeny, bluey kind of hue, and then like a gold trim on them, and they have like a little hole in the top as well, so again I can kind of like sew them on really nicely. But I think these look beautiful, and I think these together are gonna look really, really nice. I'm not sure about like placement yet on the actual piece, but I think adding these to this kind of yarn is gonna really like jazz it up enough for me to be like, this feels more me, and this feels more like exciting and vibrant, you know, rather than just like the plain cream. So I'm really excited. I think it's going really, really well, and I actually can't wait to get this finished. I've just added one strap to the top, and I think it's looking really, really cute. I really like how this has turned out. I haven't really added too much since I last showed. I just did I think maybe like 3 or 4 more hexagons, and then joined it up in the back, which I don't think you can kind of really tell. And then I marked where I wanted to put my straps, and then just did a row of single crochet around the top and around the bottom, just to kind of like finish it off a little bit. And then I just measured how much I wanted for my straps, did my strap, and I think it looks really cute. I most likely won't wear a bra with this on the night. Maybe some boob tape like at a push, because it's, you know, very obvious, and I think it will be more comfortable without one, to be honest. But I think it fits really well. Here's a look at the back. And yeah, it's just one more strap to do, weave in the ends, and then as well, I think where the kind of like peaks of the bottom, like the corners, sit, I think these charms are going to sit really nicely, just like hanging off the bottoms. Here's a little close-up of what the charms look like. They're really, really pretty. They've got like a gold kind of edging to it, and they're like double-sided, I think, but one side is flat and one side is very slightly domed. But I think just hanging off of the edge on the corners, it's gonna look super adorable. You probably can't really tell because my nails are quite long, so they're getting in the way, but I think this is gonna look really good. I'm getting a bit more excited now. I can kind of like see it all coming together. But yeah, I love it. My top is kind of very nearly finished. I've just got that one strap left to do, and that's basically how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. It's about like just after 5, so I'm going to probably do some more of my top, hopefully make a start on the skirt as well, and then I'll have some dinner with my partner, and we're going to chill for a little bit, maybe watch a film. There's actually a really wholesome show called The Barbecue Showdown or something like that. It's on Netflix, and they've just released a new season. It's basically like the Great British Bake Off, but for barbecue. It's very American, but it's really wholesome, and we love watching it together, so we're probably going to watch that together. If anyone's looking for a recommendation on a really cute, very wholesome, very easy to watch show, that's a really great one. But yeah, that's how I'm going to spend the rest of my day. Thanks for spending the last couple of days with me. I've had a lot of fun, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe.